In this video, we'll install ReCrystallize Pro, our tool for distributing your crystal reports so they can be viewed with up-to-date data in a web browser. We'll start with some prerequisite setup of Windows in the IIS web server, and then complete the actual ReCrystallize Pro installation. For this video, we're using a Windows Server 2008 machine. The basic steps are similar for other versions of Windows, including Windows Server versions 2003 and 2012. You can also install ReCrystallize Pro on desktop versions of Windows, including Windows XP, Vista, Windows 7, and Windows 8. If your desktop version of Windows does not include the IIS web server, you'll be able to create web pages using the ReCrystallize Pro wizard, but you'll need a computer that does have the IIS web server installed in order to run the web pages. If you're installing on a desktop version of Windows that does not have the IIS web server, then you can skip the first steps of this video, which focus on preparing Windows to serve the reports. As a first step, we'll make sure the IIS web server is installed and ASP.NET is enabled. So to do that, let's start with Server Manager. Go to Start, Administrative Tools, and find Server Manager. Going to select Roles, Add Roles. Next, select Web Server IIS. Next, and then next to Role Services. I'm going to select both ASP.NET and ASP here. For most new users of ReCrystallize Pro, we recommend using ASP.NET, so ASP is not required. If you know you only plan to use ASP.NET with ReCrystallize Pro, then it's fine to leave ASP unchecked. Select ASP.NET, OK to add required services, and also click ASP for this case. I'm also going to turn on basic authentication and Windows authentication here. Neither of these is required to run reports using ReCrystallize Pro, but they can be used to limit access so that only certain people can view certain reports. So by selecting authentication here, I'll have the option later to require authentication to limit access to the reports. Click Next to begin, and install. So it looks like the IIS installation is complete, so I'll click Close to close this wizard. And we're done with Server Manager, so I can close that too. Now, to install the ReCrystallize Pro wizard, we'll run the setup program. This is the 32-bit setup program, which should be used if you're using a 32-bit version of Windows, or if any part of your report stack uses a 32-bit component, such as a Crystal Reports add-on user function library, or UFL, or a database driver that's only available in 32-bit. Otherwise, the 64-bit setup should work fine. Let's double-click to start the setup program. Next, accept the license agreement and click Next. Next. And there's really no need to change anything here, so we can click Next again, and Next to begin the installation. The setup program has completed. Click Finish. When the 32-bit installation completes, it may automatically run this IIS check utility as a helper to configure the IIS web server. And this is not needed for the 64-bit installation, so you won't see this if you're running the 64-bit setup. Click OK. Here the IIS check utility is saying that we're running the 64-bit version of Windows, but the 32-bit setup for ReCrystallize Pro. Because we're using the 32-bit ReCrystallize Pro setup, it suggests changing the default application pool to allow 32-bit applications. For 32-bit installations, it is necessary to change the setting in the IIS application pool that your reports will use. In many cases, that will be the default application pool, so you can quickly make that change right here. I'll also show you where the setting is located so that you can manually change it if needed. If you are using the 64-bit ReCrystallize Pro setup, you will not see this prompt and should not make this change. So I'll click Yes to allow IIS check to change the application pool. Now, let me show you the setting it just changed so that you can change it manually or apply it to another application pool if needed. We'll go to Start, Administrative Tools, IIS Manager, we'll expand this machine, select Application Pools and the default application pool, go to Advanced Settings, and note this setting here. This is what the IIS check utility just changed to True. And again, this is because we're using a 32-bit ReCrystallize Pro installation on 64-bit Windows. If you're using the 64-bit ReCrystallize Pro installation, this should be changed to False, which is the default. If you use a different application pool, then you should apply this change to that application pool rather than the default application pool. That's about all there is to the ReCrystallize Pro installation. I'll go to the Start menu just to confirm that the program launches correctly. And there we are, ready to evaluate. So it looks like this installation is all set to begin creating web pages, and we'll cover that in another video.